Hi guys, here's your quick video on today's lesson, adding and subtracting fractions using standard algorithm, no more models. Alright, your first example. We're going to do 23 wholes and 2 sixths. Okay, and we are subtracting 12 and 2 fourths. Okay, alright, so that was our first step. Put them in line, going vertically. Okay, next step, we're doing LCD. Okay, and so we're going to take our two denominators that are not the same. We're going to come over here and list all the multiples of 6 and multiples of 4. Okay, remember, we don't know where to stop, we just kind of guess. So 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4 is 24. I'm going to stop there. For the 4, we have 4, 8, 12, and there it is. First one they both have alike, that's going to be my common denominator. Okay, so I'm going to use the 12 for both fractions now. I'm about to come up with an equivalent fraction. So new denominator is 12. Okay, and next step is to figure out what is the rule. Okay, so if I look at this, 6 times 2 gives me 12, and whatever rule I use for the denominator, I need to use it for the numerator. So 2 times 2, that's going to give me 4. Alright, go to your next fraction, and you have 4 times 3 is 12. Use the same rule for the numerator. 2 times 3, that's going to give me 6. Okay, and so now I need to subtract that because we're subtracting. So 4 take away 6. I can't do it, so I need to regroup. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow a whole from the 23. So that becomes a 22. And since I borrowed a whole, we know if we're talking about twelfths, a whole would be 12 twelfths. Okay, so I'm going to add a whole, which is 12 twelfths. Okay, that is your whole that you borrowed. Okay, that's a 1. Alright, so now when we add that up, we have 4 plus 12, that's 16. And then we have 12 as our denominator. Then we're just going to move this over. We have 6 twelfths, and we are just subtracting that. What we did is we just moved it over so we can start subtracting. Okay, so we have 16 take away 6, that's going to give us 10 twelfths. And then don't forget about your whole numbers. You have 22 take away 12, and that's going to give us 10. Okay? And then very, very last step we know is to simplify. Okay? So over here we're going to simplify. We're going to have to do a t-chart for the 10 and t-chart for the 12. Okay, so we know that 1 times 10 gives us 10 and 2 times 5. For 12, we have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. And if we look at that, we can tell that our greatest common factor is that 2. Okay, so that's what we're going to divide by that 2. Okay, and now we're going to simplify that. 10 divided by 2, that's going to give me 5. I'm going to write it over here. And then 12 divided by 2, that's going to give me 6. Okay, and then don't forget your 10 wholes. Okay, and there's our answer for this example. Okay, now we're going to do a different example. We're going to add this time. Okay, so we are going to add 8 and 4/9. We're going to add that to 6 wholes and 2 6. Okay, so that was our first step. Write it vertically, and now we go and find our LCD, least common denominator. We take our 9, okay, and we take our 6 and find the least common denominator. Okay, so multiples of 9. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Okay, 9 times 3 is 27. And I'll stop there. For the 6, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. And there we have it, right there. We have our least common denominator is the 18. Okay, so now we're going to find an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 18. Okay? Alright, so our next step is to figure out the rule. What did we multiply to the 9 to get 18? We know that that would be times 2. So whatever rule we use for the denominator, we're using for the numerator. 4 times 2, that's going to give us 8. Okay? Now for the bottom fraction, the 2 6. If I know that 6 times 3 gives me 18, I need to do times 3 for the numerator also. So 2 times 3, that's going to give us 6. Okay? And now we're ready to add, since we have a common denominator. 8 plus 6, that's going to give me 14. And your denominator is 18. Okay? Then we add our whole numbers. 8 plus 6, that's 14. Okay? And very last step, anytime our answer is a fraction, we need to simplify, if possible. So let's see. Okay? So we're going to simplify the 14 by doing a t-chart and finding the factors. And then we're going to simplify the 18 by finding its factors. Okay? So factors for 14, 1 times 14, and 2 times 7. For 18, 1 times 18, and 2 times 9. And 3 times 6. Okay? And so we can tell that the greatest common factor is that 2 right there. Okay? So we're going to divide our numerator by 2 and our denominator by 2. Okay? So 14 divided by 2, that's going to give us 7. And 18 divided by 2, that gives us 9. And then don't forget that whole number. So 14 right there, and there's our answer, 14 and 7/9. Alright, I hope this video helps you. If you have any questions, let me know tomorrow.